Welcome to more Gran Turismo Sports Specialtatin. Today we're featuring the same race as the last Specialtatin, but this is one particular race, so I'll do the whole race in its entirety. And this is going to be an interesting race, I'll just say that much. This is the field I'm going against. And wait for it, folks. Now I'll show you the actual race, because it's quicker than trimming it just to put that 2 seconds onto an 8-minute video. But anyway, this is the actual race to prove if I can get to an S sportsmanship rating and keep my 70,000 plus driver rating. This is a pretty cotton-picking important race, to say the least. Because if I can keep the 70,000 plus driver rating with an S sportsmanship rating, that pretty much puts me in like the top 100 worldwide. That's pretty cool. I'm starting second in this race because, well, I'm now up to an A sportsmanship rating. And as I said, I ain't the best in the world at this track, but I think honestly second will do for this one. I don't think I should drop too much just because I am technically an A driver rating right now, technically. Not really, but the letter is an A, the bar, or the actual number that kind of sort of is the bar, is a bit different. So I think it actually does grade me in terms of what I gain as an A, not as an S. So that means I'm going to actually gain more driver rating points here if I can manage to win, because this is the best field I've faced yet. I don't know, we'll see. I'm racing against a Mustang, so I'd prefer to beat the Mustang, because of course I would, but I don't know. I mean, I ain't going to race anything this race. I'm pretty much going to be a pushover. It's not going to be as bad as like the middle of that series that I did, the experiment that was featuring the grand finale. Just playing words there. But, I mean, I'm probably going to be less aggressive than any of the other races though too, just because I want to get a S sportsmanship rating just to see what happens. See what happens with the camera too. I don't know why it's doing that. I think that's better now, somewhat. My phone's getting old, I think. I prefer not to get a new one, but this phone is almost 2 years old now, and it wasn't gotten new anyway. It was new in terms of it didn't have a previous owner, but it had already been out for like a year or so before I got it. But anyway, race, yeah. Good race. I mean, it's staying pretty much even, which is how it should be, because it's right close pack. I mean, y'all saw the times there, and y'all can make your own assumptions with that, but really no assumptions needed for that. It's pretty cotton close. That's obvious. Don't need to assume much here. Third is looking pretty far back, too, so I might be able to put a little bit of pressure in terms of staying behind second. Passing, I'm just going to wait for a mistake. I don't really want to risk anything. I want to have the S sportsmanship rating, because I know I ain't going to do another one of these races if I do get an S sportsmanship rating, because then I'll just be back where I was to begin with that started a downward spiral, and I don't want to go through that again. Because then my driver rating actually gets reset in a negative this time. It goes back down to 70,000. I never figured I'd say that sentence in my life, but that's truism right yonder. So, pretty much no matter what, this will be the last race I do. So, I'd like to capitalize, I'd like to win it, but I don't know, folks. Still pretty cotton picking even. One thing that I noticed, and I think this is actually true to life, is the Viper just downright has awesome brakes. The street legal Viper did. The race Viper seemed to. The Viper has awesome brakes. I say that, I think I actually lost a slight bit of time there, but that's just because the leader went slightly wide there. I got a better angle into that turn, so whatever. Viper has awesome brakes, and it looks awesome, and it sounds awesome, and it drives awesome. If only they gave it correct balance of power. For Jiminy Cricket, they put it on 84% of its actual horsepower. That's just downright dumb. But anyway, it's looking like I might be able to make a pass here anyway. And again, awesome brakes. Not really. Jiminy Cricket, that's uncalled for, honestly. That pretty much means it's impossible to make a pass here, isn't it? Again, this is sort of the first time I've been in a pack and not get screwed over, so I don't have much experience with it. But how else are you supposed to make a pass there and then just brake later than the person in front of you? It's hard to really pass around the turns here just because it's such a slow speed turn, so you have to pass in the braking zone. The turns aren't really fast enough to have a much difference in speed to be able to really pass there unless somebody straight up messes up. Again, like I said, I don't do the races I'm not really caught picking good at or an oval much. I do like doing the oval races just because I know those are going to go badly and it goes badly for everybody. But this is sort of a new zone, but I mean, again, that's sort of the point. I don't care as much about the ratings now, and they worked. They went up because I no longer care. That in and of itself is downright stupid, too. The moment I stop caring is actually the moment they skyrocket, too. Maybe that means I should have not cared all along, because now I'm just doing the fun races and they're skyrocketing, but I don't know. This race kind of depends a lot on that, too, because there was actually no contact there when I tried to brake to pass. I don't really know how she passed here, but I assume by contact. I'm just going to have to wait for the top two to wreck each other. But as y'all can see there, the laps are slowly winding down here. So, I mean, I have time, but I don't have room to really do much. I don't honestly care that much if they're too aggressive, because I think where I'm actually being graded as an A driver rating and not as an S, I probably ain't going to lose much here just because that's how it generally works. I did technically go down a position, but I also didn't have the highest sportsmanship rating in the race. The field was about half S, half A, so I think all in all I'd come out about even if I finished third ish. I don't know. Again, I ain't gonna risk anything. I don't care if I lose like 100 driver rating, but then I get to an S sportsmanship rating, because realistically that means I still net gain like 10,000 plus driver rating and all this, so I ain't gonna complain. But I'd still also like to win. Those top two are battling pretty caught picking hard, though. And again, there ain't really much passes going on, except for the lap down car, because ghost. But again, there ain't really much passes going on, because there just ain't that much room. But there's a bit of beating and banging going on by default, because there just ain't that much room. So maybe one or both of them will get a penalty from that. An undeserved penalty, but for the amount of penalties I've gotten, I guess everybody gets undeserved penalties, I'd hope. But I don't know. I mean, it's hard to really say if they have a penalty or not because they're still not showing it. But then again, they also ain't slowing down any, so I'm just going to race as assuming they don't. Because it's impossible to tell with penalties still. It's random. And now it's the last lap, so I think whether they have a penalty or not, it's maybe too little too late to slow down anyway. And I think both of them are going to try for the win, so let's see if they one or both try too hard. I'm really too far back to do anything at this point, so I'm just kind of waiting on them. And yeah, that's pretty much it at this point. Just wait on them and see if something happens. As of now, that Mustang does have a bit of a run, but again, I tried to brake there and bad things happened, and bad things happened for the Mustang. Let's see if I can actually do something. Cut me off much there? Oh, for Jiminy Cricket's sakes. I mean, holy snikes, folks. Who, what, where, why, and how? Explain it to me in the comments. Or don't, because at this point it's kind of repetitive. There's really no explaining this, and it's kind of gone the same way every time. I got cut off. There, just straight up. I got cut off, and I was the one who got the penalty there. Actually, I think we both got the penalty there, but still, what did I do wrong there? That Mustang did exactly what I did. Braked too hard in the turn and didn't make it. But instead, I had no one around me, and it also wasn't the last lap, so I didn't screw anyone over. And I didn't have barely any of the track left where there wasn't enough room to pass. But instead, that Mustang had someone to screw over, and there's barely any of the race left, so I didn't have time to capitalize. So basically, that Mustang knew what I did, knew he could get away with it, did it, and screwed me over in the process. Really? I mean, again, y'all can make your own assumptions on that. I'm tired of dealing with what PD thinks about that. But in my humble opinion, that Mustang just cut me off. That Mustang driver just cut me off unbiasedly. That's what happened. And unbiasedly, too, because that's a fact. You're looking at it, right? Caught picking there. That's a penalty for me, for no reason. At this point, I'm just hoping that maybe the Mustang doesn't quite delete the penalty. And they each counted a second. Maybe I could get by at the line. But neither of those happened. I didn't get by the line, and the Mustang deleted the penalty. I'd be perfectly fine there if the Mustang got a 1 second penalty and then I didn't, and that Mustang still got it anyway, because, I mean, you're supposed to fight for the win. That's the point in racing, and really that penalty was more for cutting me off than what happened between the two front runners there. But me getting a penalty is just downright intolerable. As intolerable is probably the word of this series. Is just this stupidity is intolerable. It needs to be fixed. But nonetheless, I was correct in terms of my driver rating going up, even though I lost a position. They counted me as an A, and my driver rating went up to 71,200 points. I'm not even going to question it. I'm just going to go with it. I still increased like almost 1,000 from this race. And even though I got screwed over from a penalty that I didn't deserve, like every race, the rest of the race I was clean enough to where actually my SR went up to an 80 exactly. Which means I now have an S sportsmanship rating. Hallelujah. I don't have to deal with Mustang drivers anymore. Hallelujah. That's the biggest one of all, is I don't have to deal with Mustang drivers anymore. And speaking of winning, the races the next day around was generic Mercedes hatchbacks, understeery, slow cars that aren't that fun at Brands Hatch Indy, which is pretty much my perfect scenario somehow or another. Given that I don't even like driving those cars that much, I prefer the big, bulky muscle cars that drift. For whatever reason, I'm best at driving the understeery hatchbacks at Brands Hatch Indy, a slow track. I won 13 of 14 races there the next day. Yeah, that got my sportsmanship rating up to a 99 because I was just able to run away with all those races. Literally none of those races were competitive. The only one I didn't win, I got dive bombed in the first turn, so whatever. 13 out of 14 not getting dive bombed, no big deal. My driver rating went up from a 71,200 to 72,020. Over 72,000 driver rating points, a perfect 99 sportsmanship rating, 13 out of 14 races won, and in that there was, I think my best was like an 8 race clean race winning streak. That's pretty much perfect. I forgive PD at this point. Whatever. Their system's so flawed, it's broken almost beyond repair because it seems like they haven't been able to fix it yet. But it's looking like, if you know how to run the system, and ain't even really exploiting it, given that everyone can do it, you don't really get hurt by it. I recommend everyone do that. Pretty much meaning, whatever level you're at, do the glitch to reset you at the higher point. Then you're at a higher level, and then just go to whatever track you're best at, run a lot of those races, get your SR back up, and then you have thousands upon thousands of higher driver rating, perfect sportsmanship rating, and you race with cleaner drivers by default then, because the races are higher. I mean, depending on your skill level, you might slowly go back down in the driver rating, but at least then you're racing with faster and therefore, in theory, cleaner drivers, so the racing's more fun. Perfect strategy. It's like anti-tanking in a way. It's tanking so terribly, it actually makes you do better all in all. The races get harder then, but I think that's worth it. I'd much rather be in a competitive race for 8th that stays clean than a demolition derby for 3rd that ends up getting me in 12th because I'm the one that gets screwed over. So, what have we learned from this mini-series? Absolutely nothing. Literally nothing. It's not even like the last series that's sarcastic. We've learned nothing here. It's kind of random, but if it randomly goes your way, it goes your way really cotton picking good. You can kind of exploit it. It's kind of also risky. I don't necessarily recommend it as much as tanking strategy because that just works by default. There's really no There's no screwing that one up. In this one, though, if you mess up by about 10 more sportsmanship rating than what you get to make it go up, it goes down. It resets you down. I think it goes by 10s. But it might work out. If you want to try it, it could work out. I mean, but it did for me, and now I have 256 wins, which puts me about 80th in the world. 72,000 driver rating points, which puts me 55th in the world. And 99 sportsmanship rating, so I'm as clean as can possibly be. One of the top 0.001% or something like that in terms of overall rating. And a whole heck of a heap of wins. Because PD was finally nice to me for once. Again, I don't know where I was be if PD didn't initially screw me over in weeks past, but I don't think I'd be any higher than this, I'll say that. So, I'll forgive him. If y'all get this too, good for you. If you're on a downward slope, it might be worth trying anyway. You only live once and such, but whatever. If y'all do it successfully, I guess I'll see y'all on track, and I'll race clean if y'all do like usual, and I mean, we can have some fun this way, that's for sure. If it works out, and it's completely random, but finally I had random luck in my favor. And that's most definitely worth a yeehaw!